Jeopardy! Alum Drew Basile has clapped back at his critics after being branded arrogant on the show. The Survivor star, 23, was knocked out of Jeopardy! Late last month after enjoying a 7-day winning streak. Critics claimed the Michigan-born graduate student was unlikable during his stint on the show and called out the obnoxious contestant for celebrating triumphantly when he won games. He would pump his fists, clap for himself, and pound his chest when he was announced the winner. Drew hit out at the negative comments on social media during an appearance on Rob Cesternino's Rob Has a Podcast on Thursday. "The negative people, they're retired, they're a little bit older, you know," he said. "They're still grappling with technology, they haven't figured out about spell check, for example. It's hard to be that outraged when it's a completely incoherent message." Still, he admitted, "I was kind of a polarizing figure on Jeopardy!" The reality star said the other contestants had so much poise and were dressed up to encourage those best qualities of politeness and rectitude. "I love showboating. I think, because I have a little bit more personality than your average winning contestant, it could have been a little unnerving for some viewers," he said. Elsewhere in the interview, Drew admitted that producers forced him to reshoot a scene in which he celebrated his win too enthusiastically. He confessed that after his third win following a rare tiebreaker clue, he got so hyped up that they had to red ape the ending. "Obviously, I had a big reaction at the end of the tiebreak because, you know, it's like a Western standoff," he recalled. "I had such a big reaction that I think we had to re-record it. I was like, let's go," he said, shouting and pumping his fists. He added that Jeopardy is so classy and he'd had a huge reaction. Drew left fans devastated when he defeated 15-day winner Adriana Harmeyer last month. He was kicked out of the competition himself on June 28, having earned $129,601. Last week, it was announced that he will compete on the game show's Tournament of Champions. Some viewers threatened to boycott the show if Drew were to appear on it. "I'm a regular viewer, but I'm done until Drew is gone," one furious fan posted on Instagram. They added that he was full of himself and so unpleasant, and shared their hopes that he would be knocked out early. Title: Embracing the Controversy, Drew Basile's Journey on Jeopardy! Drew Basile, the latest contestant to capture the national spotlight on Jeopardy, has been a whirlwind of controversy and brilliance since his debut. The bespectacled and confident New Yorker quickly became a polarizing figure, much to the dismay of traditionalists who long for the days of the unassuming, humble contestants of yore. From his first appearance, Drew's brash demeanor and unorthodox playing style turned heads. He confidently wagered large sums on daily doubles and responded to Alex Trebek's successor, Ken Jennings, with a mix of humor and irreverence that some found endearing and others deemed disrespectful. His signature phrase, "That's how you play the game," after every correct response soon became a rallying cry for his supporters and a point of contention for his detractors. Critics emerged almost immediately. Online forums and social media buzzed with heated discussions about Drew's personality and strategy. Some lauded him as a breath of fresh air, injecting new life into the venerable quiz show. Others labeled him as arrogant and unbecoming of the show's decorum. But Drew, never one to shy away from confrontation, addressed his critics head-on in an exclusive interview with a major news outlet. "They're incoherent and retired," he said with a dismissive wave of his hand, referring to the more vocal segments of his detractors. "They cling to an outdated vision of what Jeopardy should be. It's a game, and games evolve. If you're not moving forward, you're left behind." His words, though harsh, struck a chord with a younger audience that had grown tired of the same old format. Drew's embrace of his polarizing status seemed to fuel his confidence on the show. He reveled in the controversy, using it as a tool to maintain his focus and edge. For Drew, the critics were just another obstacle to overcome, much like the challenging questions on the board. As Drew continued his winning streak, his strategy became more apparent. He approached the game with the precision of a chess master, meticulously planning his moves and anticipating his opponent's responses. His knowledge spanned a wide array of categories, from obscure historical facts to contemporary pop culture references, showcasing a breadth of knowledge that left many in awe. But it wasn't just his intelligence that kept viewers tuning in. Drew's backstory added a layer of intrigue to his persona. A former tech entrepreneur who sold his startup for a substantial sum, he retired early to pursue a passion for trivia and competitive quizzing. His unconventional journey to the Jeopardy stage resonated with those who dared to dream beyond the conventional career path. Off-camera, Drew's life was equally fascinating. He lived in a minimalist apartment in Brooklyn, surrounded by bookshelves filled with trivia books and a whiteboard covered in notes and diagrams. Friends described him as fiercely competitive but also generous, often hosting trivia nights at local bars and donating his winnings to educational charities. One evening, Drew sat in his favorite armchair, reflecting on the whirlwind his life had become since his first appearance on Jeopardy! The harsh words of his critics played in his mind, but so did the messages of support from fans who saw in him a reflection of their own aspirations. "It's not about winning or losing," he mused aloud, "it's about pushing boundaries and challenging norms. If being polarizing is the price of progress, then so be it." His phone buzzed with notifications from social media. Another wave of comments, both positive and negative, flooded in. Drew chuckled and set his phone aside. The noise was just that, noise. His focus remained on the game and the broader impact he could have. Drew's philosophy on life and Jeopardy was simple: embrace the controversy, push forward, and never settle for mediocrity. It was a mindset that had served him well, both in his tech career and now on the quiz show stage. He saw each episode as an opportunity to redefine what it meant to be a contestant, to break the mold and set new standards. As his winning streak extended into double digits, the producers of Jeopardy began to take notice. Drew's presence was driving ratings and sparking debates across the nation. They saw in him a potential to attract a new demographic, to make the show relevant to a generation raised on rapid-fire information and constant innovation. In a special segment, Ken Jennings sat down with Drew to discuss his impact on the show. Ken, ever the gracious host, acknowledged the mixed reactions but also praised Drew for his knowledge and skill. "You've certainly made your mark," Ken said with a smile. "What do you hope your legacy will be on Jeopardy?" Drew thought for a moment before responding. "I want people to remember that it's okay to be different, to challenge the status quo. Knowledge isn't just about facts and figures.